The city holds its breath, shrouded in a relentless downpour. Rain streaks down the grimy windows of a forgotten warehouse, mirroring the tears of a story that refuses to be told straight. Tonight, we're diving into the heart of a heist that went so spectacularly wrong, it became a legend. But like all legends, the truth depends entirely on who's telling the tale. For Marco, it was a symphony of precision, a perfectly orchestrated plan. He was the conductor, every move calculated, every second accounted for. The target, a vault believed to be impenetrable. The team, handpicked, loyal, or so he thought. In Marco's memory, the night was clear, the plan flawless. The alarm was supposed to stay silent, the guards oblivious. It was supposed to be a ghost operation, in and out, leaving nothing but an empty space where millions once sat. But then, there was Eli. According to Marco, it was Ellie's greed, his sudden, inexplicable betrayal, that shattered the masterpiece. A single, unscheduled move, a flicker of avarice in his eyes, and the symphony descended into a cacophony of sirens and chaos. Marco sees himself, the betrayed mastermind, watching his perfect crime crumble into dust, all because of one man's weakness. Now, let's switch perspectives. Let's step into Ellie's worn-out boots. For him, the night wasn't a symphony, it was a chaotic mess from the very beginning. The plan Marco was so proud of, it was a house of cards in a hurricane. Eli remembers the tension, the air thick with unspoken anxieties. The timing was off, the intel was shaky, and Marco, their cool-headed leader, was anything but. Eli saw a man on the edge, pushing them forward into a trap. In his version of the story, he wasn't the traitor, he was the savior, or at least he tried to be. That betrayal Marco talks about, Eli remembers it as a desperate attempt to salvage the mission, a split-second decision to cut their losses and run before they were all caught. He saw the dominoes starting to fall and tried to pull them out of the way, but it was too late. He was trying to save them from Marco's own hubris. And then there's Jonah, the quiet one, the ghost in the machine. While Marco and Eli were locked in their power struggle, Jonah was playing a different game entirely. He wasn't there for the money. Not really. He was there for his family. He remembers the weight of his daughter's medical bills, a burden far heavier than any bag of cash. Jonah's memory isn't of a grand plan or chaotic failure. It's a series of small, deliberate actions. A wire snipped just a little too late. A security code entered with a fractional delay. He wasn't trying to cause chaos like Eli, or achieve perfection like Marco. He was weaving his own quiet sabotage into the fabric of their heist. His goal was simple, ensure the job failed, but in a way that let him walk away, unnoticed. With a small advance, he'd been paid, enough to buy his family a little more time. For Jonah, the sirens weren't a sound of failure. They were the sound of a father's desperate love. 3 men, 1 night, 3 completely different stories. Marco's clean plan, Ellie's chaotic rescue, Jonah's silent sacrifice. They orbit the same event, yet their memories are worlds apart. As their narratives clash, like waves against the rain-slicked city streets, a different picture begins to emerge, one that none of them are willing to see. The rain seems to wash away the lies, revealing the cracks in their carefully constructed realities. We see Marco, not as a betrayed genius, but as a man hiding a secret of his own. We see Eli, not just as a desperate pragmatist, but as someone who genuinely believed he was doing the right thing. And we see Jonah, the quiet saboteur, as a tragic hero in his own small, heartbreaking drama. The truth, when it finally surfaces, is more complex and far more tragic than any of their individual stories. It wasn't Ellie's greed or Jonah's sabotage that was the primary catalyst for disaster. The seed of failure was planted long before they ever stepped foot in that building. It was planted by Marco himself, a hidden crime, a secret debt to a far more dangerous player in the city's underworld, one he thought he could erase with this one big score. The entire heist was built on a lie, a desperate attempt by Marco to clean up his own mess. The alarms didn't go off because of Eli or Jonah. They were triggered by a silent party Marco never told his crew about, someone waiting in the wings to collect on his debt. The failure was a setup, and Marco had walked his own team right into it. So, who is the villain? Who is the hero? The beauty of a story like this is that there are no easy answers. Was Marco a villain for endangering his crew to save himself, or a tragic figure trapped by his own mistakes? Was Eli a traitor for abandoning the plan, or a realist trying to save lives? Was Jonah justified in his sabotage for the sake of his family? The lines blur until they disappear completely. Each man became the hero of his own story, rewriting the past to fit a narrative he could live with. They created myths to protect themselves from a truth that was too painful to bear. In the end, the city doesn't remember the truth. The city, with its endless rain and indifferent concrete, is a terrible keeper of facts. It only remembers the stories. It remembers the legend of the mastermind betrayed, the chaotic scramble for survival, the whispers of a job gone wrong. The true, messy, complicated heart of the matter is washed away, leaving only the polished, self-serving fictions the survivors tell themselves to sleep at night. Because sometimes, the story we tell ourselves is more important than the truth we lived. It's the story that allows us to keep going, to face the next rainy day in a city that never forgets, or rarely remembers correctly. What do you think? Is there such a thing as objective truth, or is everything just a matter of perspective? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. This kind of story always makes you wonder about the narratives we build in our own lives. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the city's underbelly. See you in the next one.